So I'm actually going to stand up for this, okay? Hopefully you guys can hear me.
I love the demonstration, Salima.
Okay, awesome. So you're not going to be standing up. I'm just doing this to show you. So step one, you're going to lay down, okay, on the floor like you're going to do sit-ups. So in sit-up position, knees bend, right? So remember in like PE class, someone would hold your feet just like that. You're gonna lay on your back, okay? Now next, there's two things that you want to keep in mind, okay? You're going to be measuring the width and the depth, okay? So the width everyone talks about is like, is your diastasis a 1, 2, 3, or 4 finger, okay? So the width is basically, you're going to lay on your back and you're going to gingerly come up, okay? So it's not like you're doing a full crunch all the way up. Just slightly raise your back up, and you're going to do it in 3 spots, okay? You're going to do it first right center on your belly, okay, in your belly button, and you're going to see. I usually start with 2 fingers, and if you need to take away 1, you do 1, and if you need more, you keep adding, okay? So that's going to give you an actual measurement as far as how wide your gap is, okay? The next thing you want to do, okay, again, you're gingerly lifting your shoulders off the ground, and you're going to actually go vertically, and you're just going to press down, okay, into your belly, okay? Now, that is equally important when you're assessing diastasis recti, how deep it is, okay? So if your whole, like I talked about mine, from my personal experience, the very first time, my entire hand fell in, right? So all 4 fingers just went under. And so for that, that means the connective tissue underneath is really weak, okay? Normal would be when you press on it, you get a nice little bounce back, okay? And so that really helps because for me personally, I actually haven't closed my gap. My gap is still a 2-finger gap, but it's now transitioned to something that's called a functional diastasis, okay? And what that means is if I actually see like how deep it is, I get a really good bounce back. So now I know that I can transition from just doing really beginner exercises into something more intermediate. So the example I like to give is that when I first started to work out, I was doing push-ups on the wall. So there's no pressure. I would just stand up against the wall and do it. Then I transitioned to like actually doing it against the table. And then I transitioned to doing it on my knees. And I'm now finally at a point where I feel like I can do a regular push-up. Again, this took a whole bunch of time, but you know, understanding what diastasis is, recognizing that you have it. Now, once you self-diagnose it, I still always recommend, you know, go to your doctor, confirm that you have it, and then get a referral to a physical therapist, because that's very important. And I sort of became my sort of own teacher in the process, which you can too, but I think it would definitely help if you had a PT guiding you along the way. So, yeah, I'm going to check to see what other questions we have over here. Okay, so I don't see.
I think the question that I just saw pop up is, would you recommend a pelvic PT? 100%. I definitely would recommend a pelvic PT. I just finished delivering a baby about, I think, 20 days ago, and I'm definitely going to look into a pelvic PT. And it doesn't have to be because you have diastasis. I think in general, it's good to just get examined and possibly explore all your options to strengthen your pelvic floor.
Okay, and let's see. Okay, so another question that I saw was, how do you heal your core? And this is a great question, because now you have it, what's going to change, right? So I briefly mentioned it, that you don't want to do exercises that sort of push pressure or cause doming. So no crunching, no twisting, no actual push-ups. So why is that? So we're talking about, you know, strengthening your core. And for me, I had to sort of revisit what that meant. So before having babies, my sort of image of what the core was that person flashing their 6-pack, right? That's your core. This is that like nice chiseled abdomen. Throw that image totally into the trash, because that's not core, okay? Your core is multiple things, right? So your butt is actually considered your core, your back is considered your core, your inner thighs are considered your core, and there is a great deep abdominal muscle called your transverse abdominis, okay? So say it, transverse abdominis. This is going to be your best friend, okay? So just to give you an idea, your transverse abdominis actually, it wraps from the back to the front, it runs laterally, okay? And the best sort of analogy I have is it's like a corset, okay? And so the more you work it, the better it's going to help the rest of your body sort of piece it back together, okay? And another analogy, it's like shoelaces. Like, you know, when you tie shoelaces, that's what that's what the transverse abdominis is doing, okay? So when initially I was told to do these exercises laying on my back, right? I was like, how is this going to get me my body back? How is laying on my back, right? So I sort of really poo-pooed this idea of working out like this. And then I finally started doing it, and my goodness, like you actually start to see your body over time come together.
And I'm just going to add a little to that. Selena, don't forget that if you want to work out your core or even just your abs, whether it's through diastasis or not, you want to make sure that you also work out your back, your lower back. I mean, that is very, very important for anybody who's looking into working out their abs or their core. You want to make sure you don't ignore your back.
I saw another good question. Maybe it was like, can you do anything particular during pregnancy to avoid diastasis? And anything before delivery, which I think is really important. So I will tell you this. After babies 1, 2, and 3, I wasn't even thinking about diastasis recti. So I didn't do any pelvic rehab or didn't work on any of that. And I look back on it, and I always think about it, like, what if I had? And absolutely, if you look through the literature, having a stronger core before you even get pregnant is really important. And even after, you know, you have your baby, it's really important to start, when you start working out. I am now a big fan of working out, you know, and treating as if you had a diastasis recti, because it's only going to make you stronger, okay? So I actually wish I had worked out before I had babies, like doing like Pilates or the bar method. That's something that I actually never did. As far as working out during pregnancy, I think I would echo what, you know, Poonam had said. You know, you don't want to start on a new regimen, but there's definitely stuff that you can be doing that is friendly. Obviously, always get the recommendation of your doctor. And I know both Pamela and Poonam actually did work out during their pregnancy. I know Pamela, she's not here with us today, but even a few days before she was due, I saw she had posted a photo of herself at a bar class working out. So I think all of that actually really helps. Okay, let's see here. I see another question here. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I'm doing all things, so I'm just trying to see. How long after having a baby should you check? So how long after a baby? So you delivered a baby, right? So everybody has some degree of diastasis recti, okay? And that's normal. So don't be afraid, don't be shocked, don't be upset, okay? The fact that you have it is normal, right? Remember we talked about it, to accommodate the growing uterus, your belly will expand, and that sort of linea alba also expands. Now, whether it comes back together or not is it's dependent from person to person. And so I would check for it, right soon after, just so that you're aware that it's there, so you don't sort of go down this thing that I did, which was like, I'm going to sprint and I'm going to just go for it, And so what I would recommend is, every couple of weeks, check in to see how things are going, right? So you can see if it's closing up or not. Obviously, most women get a postpartum visit somewhere around 6 weeks, and so you can talk to your doctor about that too. When I went in when I went in, I was actually cleared, and there was like, this is small diastasis, but it wasn't anything that was like, seemed crazy to me. And then I went on this rampage of working out like a crazy person, and that's when I was on the pathway to healing, never let it heal, and then started to make it worse, okay? And so I would probably postpartum workout would be focused on just sort of, healing that core. Sorry, I'm just trying to get all these questions and read them at the same time. Okay. Let's see here. So what kind of exercise do you suggest starting with? Okay, so that's a great question. So there, like I said, that there are beginner, intermediate, and sort of advanced stuff. So what I would start with is when you're on your back, okay, there's a few things. And obviously, it's actually on my Instagram, I do have a section where I talk about diastasis recti and I go through some easy exercises. But anything that, and you can Google these or YouTube these, anything that starts off just with you on your back is great. There are some where, you know, you'll have to be on your knees. I would start with everything on your back first because you know you're not putting any pressure on your abdomen. Okay. And then what I mean by your back, you're completely flat on your back. So actually crunching up or doing Russian twists, those are absolutely no-no. Okay, so nutrition, that is something that I also get asked about, you know, because all of this is exercise is really important. And as we've seen earlier in our talks, nutrition is just as important. And so for me, I'm probably not the best to talk about nutrition because I have had, everyone has their own vices. And for me, coffee, Diet Coke have been my two vices. This is the first time in a month that I've actually cut myself clean of Diet Coke. I know it's crazy. 22 years I was actually drinking Diet Coke and finally the light went off. But from everything that you've seen so far, you know, plants, eating lots of plants and fiber, all of that stuff is really, really important. And for me, nutrition is now finally coming into place as an important aspect of what I need to also address. I have tried all sorts of things from, you know, just keto diet to intermittent fasting, which I will say probably is the one thing that I am currently using. And I know our next speaker is the guru in intermittent fasting, and she's going to be talking all about it because that has also helped me tremendously. And obviously I'm trying to cut out a lot of just red meat and eat more of the plants and fibers. So I do think, you know, nutrition is just as important. And let me just see if there's any other questions here. I think everyone. Okay, I don't see any more questions. Feel free to type it in. I am going to just, you know, say a few things. For me personally, you know, I'm not trying to sell a method that works. I'm not trying to, you know, tell you there's a dream body out there. I think from everything you've heard from all, you know, the different panelists is that everyone has their own method, and there's always something that's going to work for what works for me may not work for you. But we're here to sort of share our experiences. And I think for me, you know, what I wanted the message to be is your fitness journey can start now, right? I think that that's the key thing. Like if you've thought about it, stop thinking about it. Just start, just do it, okay? Like Nike says, just do it. And the key thing is, you know, and Poonam had mentioned this, to have a plan in place, right? So, you know, create that space for yourself, okay? And then show up, you know, and whether that's 7 minutes or 45 minutes, totally up to you. And I'm the one person who can say that, you know, if you had asked me before having kids, you know, work out in 7-minute intervals throughout the day, I would have said, no way, that's not going to work. You need to be active like for the full 30 to 40 minutes. And I can honestly now say is, trust me, it works as long as you show up and you know, have the discipline, and then give yourself the grace of time, right? So this is not going to happen overnight. Absolutely not. And it happens through, you know, months of just showing up consistently. And for me, you know, my youngest is now, just to give you guys perspective, 4 years old, right? So that's a long time. So I know there's a lot of new moms watching, and some of you may be thinking, I know I have this, and just give yourself a lot of time to heal, and, you know, trust the process because it works. I'm also available all the time. You can find me on Instagram at Dr. Salima. You can reach out anytime. I love empowering women to get their bodies back. And for me, I've also come to realize that, you know, it's not just about the way you look, you know, it's not about, oh, I want my jeans to fit right. But what I came to realize is that the way you feel about yourself, the way you feel comfortable in your own skin, you know, trickles down into so many aspects of your life, right? So when I was just not happy in my own skin, it's a very uncomfortable feeling, and it trickles down into your mood, your behavior. I was angry, you know, and I was sad, and you realize this because it impacts your relationships, and it impacts the way you present yourself as a person. And so, you know, I know like the title is to get your sexy back, but, you know, it's to make you feel comfortable in your own skin. You know, you want to be proud and happy, and you want to, you know, button up your jeans. I don't care what size they are. It's about you being comfortable and wearing them and feeling like I've got my confidence back. And I am your biggest cheerleader. I think we can all do it. And, you know, the other question that I'm thinking about as I'm talking through this is that, you know, people ask me all the time, do you think about surgery? Absolutely. You know, I do. And it's still in the back of my head, and it's still on the platter. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, right? I think there are some times that you did the best you can. And if you need surgery, you need surgery. And that is totally okay. I know I'm almost running out of time, so I have a few things I wanted to share. I know at the end of the talk, there is going to be a link to Soul Power Yoga. Okay. Now, Soul Power Yoga was founded by South Asian women, entrepreneurs, and mothers, Crystal and Pooja. And they're offering a special link for our summit attendees for free access to 3 of their fan favorite classes for 14 days, which I think is amazing and awesome. I was just having this conversation last night with both my mom and my husband, because my mom has really bad knees, and you know, I thought it was just because she didn't take care of her knees. And now, you know, I'm 40 years old, and when I'm squatting, I can hear the cracking in my knees. And we were just talking about, you know, we all need to incorporate more yoga. And for me, honestly, I just recently started doing it, and more out of necessity because my knees were hurting. And I've come to realize I wish I had been doing this a long, long time ago. I used to think, okay, I'm not working up, I'm not breaking a sweat, so why do it? And so, you know, it's, excuse me, I think it's equally important. So thank you guys for doing this. Again, thank you for joining me from the bottom of my heart. I know it's a Saturday afternoon. If you have any questions, just send me a message, or you can continue to ask questions. And once I get off of this, I will go ahead and answer them. And take care. Thank you, guys.